many people confuse earning a lot of money in a job with job satisfaction, and people equate having lots of money with being with being happy. But that's absolutely wrong. The only definition of success is being able to live your life your own way, being able to live a life aligned with your value system.
My guest today is Gautam Baid. Gautam is a portfolio manager at an investment advisor based in Salt Lake City, Utah. Previously, he served at the Mumbai, London, and Hong Kong offices of Citigroup and Deutsche Bank as senior analysts in their healthcare investment banking teams. Gautam's latest book is The Joys of Compounding, The Passionate Pursuit of Lifelong Learning. His book draws on the work of investing greats like Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, and Ben Graham, as well as philosophers and scholars. Gautam integrates their strategies and wisdom into practical applications in the areas of business, investing, and decision-making. I recently sat down with Gautam and talked about how value investing is not just a system for success in the market, it is also an intellectual toolkit for achieving a deeper understanding of the world. Gautam, thanks for being on the show. I greatly appreciate it. And you don't know this, but I ordered your book. It was a Kindle version back in September. So we're looking about several months ago. I don't know when this is going to air, but it's at least a good chunk of time. And I read it and I said, wow, this is really good stuff. And I ordered it for my team. They're going to be getting it very soon because I found it was chock full of great information. So thanks for being on the show and really a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, Charles. It is a pleasure being here.
The name of the book, folks, is The Joys of Compounding, The Passionate Pursuit of Lifelong Learning. Now, what I like about the book is it's not really an investment book, right? And I don't think you wrote it as so much of an investment book, right? Mm-hmm. Tell me about that.
So initially, the sole objective behind writing the book was to share and write about my life's biggest learnings and give back to the investing community from whom I've gotten to learn so much over the years. And that's why when I self-published the first edition of The Joys of Compounding 3.5 years ago, then I had sold it for zero royalty. I didn't charge any money to cover the costs of production, logistics, marketing, or distribution, because the only idea was to help people and to give back to society. But Charles, what I've learned in life is that when you help others unconditionally without expecting anything in return, the universe works in such a way so as to come back and reward you back multiple times over. In May 2019, I was at Creighton University in Omaha signing copies of my self-published book for the readers during the Berkshire Hathaway annual meeting.
Hang on a sec. So the book that I have in my hand is more or less the same book that you self-published back, how many years ago did you say? 3.5 years ago?
It was 3.5 years ago.
Okay. So you decided, you know what, I'm going to put a book together that has everything about value investing, about achieving worldly wisdom, building strong character, all lessons and stories and anecdotes that you learned from Charlie Munger, from Ben Graham, from Warren Buffett, all really great stuff. And you put it together and you were giving these away or you were selling them or what? How'd it work?
So I was selling it for zero royalty. I was basically selling it at cost price. But I think before we discuss about why did I self-publish the book, there is a bigger background story about myself, which I feel if I share with your audience, they'll be able to better appreciate the significance of the book and the content and the reason behind every single chapter. If you may allow me, I would like to share the background story for that. So I was born and brought up in a Marwadi community family in India. And in India, there are two communities, the Marwadis and the Gujaratis, which have got business and entrepreneurship in their genes. So ever since my childhood years, I was very fascinated by the concept of business and entrepreneurship, especially by the fact that once a solid foundation is established for a business, the owners do not work for money. Rather, the business and the money works for them. I did my graduation in commerce with a specialization in accountancy. So pursuing higher studies in the field of finance seemed like a natural extension. I did my MS in finance from ICFA University, Hyderabad, India. and I did my MBA in finance from Nirma University, Ahmedabad, India. And later on, I also went on to obtain my CFA charter from the CFA Institute US. After my MBA program got over, I got a campus placement with Citibank, and I worked at their Mumbai, India office for 3 years as an investment banking analyst. And after that, I joined Deutsche Bank and worked at their Mumbai, London, and Hong Kong offices for almost 4 years as a senior investment banking analyst. But all throughout those 7 years, even though I was making very good money, I wasn't really happy because just making lots and lots of money does not equate to job satisfaction after a point. And here I would like to talk about how I got my entry into the stock markets and investing.
Hang on a second.
Yes.
Okay, so you're living in India. Business is in your genes because of where you're from, right? What does your father do?
My father has got two family businesses, one in roofing solutions of aluminium and one in manufacturing raw materials for the paints industry.
Okay, so you always saw people around you, they were in business. So it was natural for you to go into business as well. You like the whole concept of services or products or the whole interaction. I hear you, because I was the same way as a kid. Everyone used to say they were going to be astronauts or baseball players or anything like that. I always loved business, taking nothing and turning it into something. You start with just an idea. That was always exciting to me. So now you go to school in India. You pass all the tests. You graduate with degrees in business, in finance, and accounting, and all that. When do you come over to the U.S. and why do you come over?
Yes, so I'll just come to that briefly. So before that, I need to share how did I get my start. The reason why I came to the US was my love for the stock market and investing, but how did I develop this love and interest for the investing field? So as is typical of most investors in the stock market, I got my beginning in the stock market by getting pulled into this field out of sheer greed during the final euphoric phases of a bull market. In my case, it was the 2003 to 2007 bull market in India. I still remember I had invested in a mutual fund called Reliance Sector Power Mutual Fund in late 2007 and a stock named Ispat Steel in early January 2008, because both of these were from the hot and fancied sectors of power and steel at the time. And both of them had recently appreciated sharply in a short span of time. So I blindly engaged in extrapolation of the recent price trends in them without paying any heed to their valuations or business models. And over the next 12 to 18 months, both the investments crashed 70 to 80%, and I'd successfully gained my admission into the stock market by paying my tuition fees.
Okay,
so as you can see...
So you lost money.
Yeah.
So basically, like I see a book right behind you, it's trend following. You basically invested based on price and based on the hype, and you had no ideas about the fundamentals of the business. And
right. It was just out of greed, nothing else.
Okay. Not even greed. It's just that also, it looked, it seemed that you didn't know any other way to invest. So you might as well invest like everyone else was, which was looking at the last price and taking out your pencil and drawing a line. Well, nobody does that anymore, but that's what I used to do. And used to look at charts and a whole bunch of other things because, that's what 90% of everyone does, right? So no one's going to hold you to that. You subsequently follow the same experience that many people have, is when the party stops, the stock market goes down and so does your investment. So when it's going up, you think that you're Warren Buffett, and when it goes down, like, what the heck's happening? So now you lost 70 to 80% of your money?
Yes, over the next 12 to 18 months.
Okay.
So as you can see, recency and vividness biases are very powerful but highly costly behavioral mistakes.
Okay, fine. All that is fine. Now you lose. How much do you lose? Is it a big amount?
It was a small sum of capital because I was just about to begin working in May 2008. So I hardly had any capital. It was just out of my pocket money.
Okay. So it wasn't something where you had to sell your house or anything like that. It was just more of a prideful thing. Here you are, this whiz kid, smart guy, and you look around and you say, hey, I got 2 degrees. My family's in business. I'm really smart. I know the stock market. I'm going to figure it out better than everyone else. And boom, you get kicked right in the chest. Okay. So now you lose. That's about sums it up, right, Gautam?
Yes,
right.
But despite this bad initial experience, my curiosity and enthusiasm for the stock market never waned. In fact, it remained very high. throughout the first 7 years of my professional investment banking career. And one fine day, I came to the realization that, hey, we just have this one short life to live our dreams. And I did not want to waste any further time doing something that I was not truly passionate about. I was so keen for a career shift that I relocated to the US in early 2015. One of my relatives, he's a US citizen. He sponsored my green card.
But who
I
sponsored
came
who
in,
sponsored your green card?
one of my close relatives. He lives in
Okay,
Atlanta,
so close
Georgia.
relatives. So hang on a second. Hang on. You got to go slow for me. I know you're like a zillion miles away, but you got to slow down for me. Because this story to you, it's, average, but it's pretty amazing. So you lose money, but your enthusiasm, you're saying, I could beat this market. I got to figure out a way. So you get bit by the stock market bug. You say, I'm coming to the United States. Why to the United States?
Yes. So the reason why I came here was I was a CFA charter holder, and I was under the impression that being a CFA charter holder, I'll be able to land a stock market job pretty easily.
Okay, so for my
Even though
listeners who don't know what a CFA is, it's certified or chartered. I think it's chartered, right? Or chartered. What's CFA?
chartered financial
Chartered
analyst.
financial. Okay, so folks, it is a fancy test that I think the pass rate is very slim. I think you take it over several years, different parts of it, right? And 92% of the stuff you learn on the test you will never use again in your life, period. It's stuff that really is not going to help you make $1 zillion. But it's a great thing that is big on Wall Street now to have a CFA after your name. I have not met anyone who's made a lot of money because they have a CFA. I've seen a lot of people who have a lot of money and then get the CFA, but I have not seen anyone. In fact, one of my analysts, my Chia head analyst now, was looking to get one. I said, save your money, buy books. But okay, he doesn't listen to me. And he knows who he is. Okay, so now you get your CFA. You come to the United States. You get sponsored by a relative. You go to Atlanta, Georgia. And with your fancy degrees and your CFA, you're going to beat Mr. Market. Is that more or less right?
Yes, I was very keen to work on the stock market side, on the buy side. But in India, during those 7 years, whenever I used to apply for a career shift into the stock market side, all of them used to look at my resume and say that I've got investment banking work experience. That's why they did not entertain me or give me a chance. So I thought US is the land of opportunity. Why not come here and at least try?
Okay.
See, there is something in my book. I talk about Jeff Bezos's regret minimization framework that when you're on your deathbed in your old age, you don't want to look back at your life and say to yourself that I wish I had tried. When you have the resources, when you have the opportunity, why not at least try? The downside is that you may not succeed, but the upside is that you will get to live your dream, right? So I just thought,
I want to
man,
tell you something. I had a friend who lived across the street from me, and I remember this. I was like 16. He was a little older than me. He was 2 years older than me. He worked at, his father was a shop teacher, taught in school, shop building and stuff. And we grew up on a pretty middle-class block. And I remember talking to him one day, and he said, your biggest regrets are not going to be things you did, it's things you didn't do. And I always thought about that. And, when I heard that Bezos said the same thing, that he deathbed, it's not what I did, it's what opportunities I didn't take advantage of. So you saw that at a pretty young age, that you didn't want to be in that situation. You didn't want to be on the deathbed, hopefully a lot more years from now, and saying, gosh, I wish I took the chance, right?
right. I mean, for me, many people confuse earning a lot of money in a job with job satisfaction, and people equate having lots of money with being with being happy. But that's absolutely wrong. The only definition of success is being able to live your life your own way, being able to live a life aligned with your value system, and being able to live life as per the inner scorecard, right? So that's why I came to the US and I tried to get into the stock market buy side job profile.
But what did you do? You started sending out your resume, or did you have any contacts or anything?
I tried, just applied to many job openings online, but as you know, life is not a bed of roses for those trying to carve out their own destiny. I got rejected in my first 3 stock market job interviews in the first 6 months of living in the US. And at the same time, I ran out of whatever little money I'd brought with me from India. And to take care of my living expenses in this country, I did not want to sell even a single share from my portfolio of Indian stocks because I did not want to interrupt the power of compounding. So to sustain myself in the States, I took up a minimum wage job as a front desk hotel clerk in San Francisco.
As a what?
Where I worked
Tell me again, as a what?
I took up a minimum wage job as a front desk hotel clerk.
Front desk hotel clerk. So I walk to the hotel and you say, "Good evening, Mr. Mizrahi. Good evening, sir.
Yes.
What's your, you have a license? We then give you a credit card. Your room 608. That's what you did.
Yes.
So this smart guy with all the degrees, with all the CFA, you're working as a clerk.
I was working as a front desk hotel clerk for minimum wages in California, and
which was it a major hotel chain or just?
It was the 4 Points by Sheraton by the San Francisco Bay Bridge.
Okay, so
I worked there for 15 months.
Okay, now here's my question, man. Gautam, I'm just on the side for a second. It's always intrigued me. When you gave the manager your resume, did he look and say you're a little bit overqualified to be a hotel desk? So how do you?
Yeah, so before 4 Points by Sheraton, I'd applied to 2 more hotel and restaurant jobs, but I got rejected everywhere for the same reason, that I was overqualified. But I was just desperate.
Okay.
I needed to put some food on the table, so I had to just get something. Okay, I was very adamant. I was very adamant and firm that I'm not going to go back to my previous field of work in India, where the presence of perverse incentives always led to incentive cost bias and did not suit my personal nature.
Okay, so when you gave your resume to these people, you can understand why they rejected you, right? You had more education, and you could be this guy's boss of boss. You could be 3 levels higher than the guy's hiring you's boss. So here they're hiring you as a clerk. You're a big threat. You could be the greatest, they look at you and say, come on, they got to be undercover boss. All right, so you take a job. Yeah, okay, that's really it. That, I'm looking at this from the outside. You lived it, so I can only tell you from my perspective. So you take a job in a hotel in where, San Francisco?
Yes.
In what year is this?
This is in late 2015.
So the money in San Francisco is, everyone's making oodles of money, right? It seems like the stock market's doing well, tech stocks are doing great, a lot of startups, and you're a hotel clerk. What was minimum wage back in the day? What were you making?
I was earning, I think, $13 or $14 an hour.
13, 14. Wait, so you're not living in Atlanta anymore, so who's paying your overhead here in San Francisco?
I was staying as a paying guest in a small dingy room on the outskirts of San Francisco. That was all that I could afford at the time.
Really?
Based on the minimum wage. That is how I used to live and stay for those 15 months.
Well, your parents probably were real happy about that, huh?
No one was happy, but in fact, I found during those 15 months that many people were very critical. In fact, they were criticizing me for my decision that, there are so many, when you're struggling in life, there are many people who say, see, I told you so.
Right.
There are very few people among your close friends and your family members who will actually support you and motivate you, because if only people who actually know you will understand and will see through you to see how much pain you're undergoing in your previous job. When you're living a life which is not in alignment with your value system, then you're suffering internally every day. And only the people who really love you and know you very well, they'll be able to relate to you, and they'll be the ones who will support you during the tough times, and they'll motivate you to.
So they were supporting you, your family, the people who knew you and knew what your plan was. They were pretty cool with what you were doing. They were encouraging you.
Not everyone, but a select few, and they are the ones I decided to stay with for the rest of my life after that entire experience got over.
Yeah.
Because during the tough times, that is when you get to know. During the hard times, you get to know who are the people who are true to you. During the good times, everyone will be with you. But during the tough times, that is when you get to realize, you get to separate the wheat from the chaff and understand who are the most meaningful people in your life. Right. So, and that's a big life lesson.
So now you're in San Francisco all alone. Do you know anybody there?
Sorry?
Do you know anybody in San Francisco when you go there?
I was all alone. No, I didn't know anybody.
How'd you pick San Francisco? What'd you do? You threw something on a map or what? How did you find... Why did you go to San Francisco?
That is just where I got the job interview call from. So I went there.
So if you could have got a job in Anchorage, Alaska at a front desk, you would be in Anchorage, Alaska, right?
Anywhere.
Whoever said yes got you. And by the way, San Francisco is an expensive place to live. So you picked a pretty expensive place. Well, they're the only ones who said yes, so they picked you. You didn't pick them. All right, so you're working there.
I didn't really have a choice. I still see, and I'll share one thing here, Charles, that nothing teaches you the big lessons of life more than an empty wallet and an empty stomach. I still remember there were days during those 15 months when I used to eat smaller portions of food to make my meals last longer throughout the day. That was the situation in which I was. But what happens is when you're so fiercely passionate about something in life, you actually can keep on going. And uh, even though it was a big challenge for me intellectually, physically, mentally, and emotionally, today I highly value those days of my life because for the first time since the beginning of my busy professional career, I finally got time to read and learn and invest in my personal self-development.
Okay, so during these 15 months, you're not just working at the front desk. You're buying books, you're reading, you're taking notes. So you become a learning machine, which you talk about in the book. You become a learning machine because this is not your final destination. This is just the first, this is your first step going forward. So you're spending how much time reading a week?
So the pace of work during late night to early morning at the hotel was pretty slow. I used to work during the graveyard shift. For those who don't know what the graveyard shift means, it used to run from 11 p.m. at night to 7 a.m. in the morning. And I made full use of the free time to read every single blog post published on blogs like Safal Niveshak, Base It Investing, Microcap Club, Fundu Professor, and Janaf WordPress, among others. And the passionate pursuit of lifelong learning had begun. But little did I know at the time that I was laying down these strong building blocks for compounding in my life. So what happened was that during those 15 months, I really got to learn a lot and build a strong intellectual foundation for myself. And here I would like to share with you a very important insight about the power of passion. During those 15 months, I remember every single night, I used to apply to a minimum of 3 stock market jobs online. So if you simply do the math, over those 15 months, I had applied to more than 1,300 stock market jobs. Now, as you very well know, Charles, when we take out time to fill up the application, attach our resume, and click on the submit button, there is always so much hope attached behind every single submission. To face rejections more than 1,300 times and still keep on going is only possible if you're absolutely fiercely passionate and sincerely dedicated about what you want to do in life. Now, luck, chance, serendipity, and randomness have always played a big role in various aspects of my life till date. During November 2016, one fine night at the hotel, I just randomly clicked on the quick apply button on a job application on LinkedIn during the course of my online job search. And wonder of wonders, I got shortlisted for the interview, and that too for a senior role in an investment firm, even though I had zero formal stock market work experience. And this was the phase in my life during which I was about to experience the power of compounding knowledge in action. You see, all those previous 15 months working at the hotel, reading up all those blog articles and white papers, had now built a very strong intellectual foundation in me in the investing domain. And I was able to excel in all the 3 rounds of my job interview. And this was possible because confidence comes from body language, and body language basically comes from knowledge, right? The more knowledge you have, the more confident your body language will be. And I landed the job of a portfolio manager, and it was like a dream come true for me.
Hang on.
Never in my...
So you click on this quick link thing for a portfolio manager. Where are they located?
Salt Lake City, Utah.
Okay,
Summit Global Investments.
Okay. What's it called? Summit
Global Investments.
So it's a portfolio manager position. The only thing you know about you is your resume. You go out there, you do, or maybe, I don't know, was it virtual or you went to see them back in the day?
I went to the Salt Lake City for a physical interview.
This is before COVID. So you're able to actually go to a real interview. So you go to the interview, they see this guy coming in, brimming with confidence, like a freight train, and you just beat them into submission and they hire you because they look at here and I'm going to get a guy at an entry-level price who has a lot of information. Is that right, more or less? They got a good value here.
Well, I didn't exactly get an entry-level price. I was actually hired at a very high pay scale because it was a portfolio manager position.
Oh, so wait. So they were giving you money to manage right from the start?
They had great confidence in me. And when you're in a position of portfolio manager, you're given a lot of great responsibility. And
wait, which stocks? What area there was? What was the portfolio that you were managing? What sectors of the market?
There were three. So it was a mutual fund company. We had 3 mutual funds: US large cap, US small cap, and a global fund. And it was a great learning experience, but never in my wildest dreams did I imagine.
What did you manage? Which portfolio did you manage?
So me and three more portfolio managers, we managed all the three mutual funds together.
Really? Wow. So that's crazy. But so you had to manage global, large cap, and what else? Small cap?
Yes. US large cap, US small cap, and a global fund. But here I would like to just quickly share that never did I ever imagine in my wildest dreams that I'll become a portfolio manager straight away. When I came to this country, I thought I'll first become a junior analyst, then work my way up to an analyst, then senior analyst, then assistant portfolio manager, and then probably portfolio manager in 14, 15 years. And here I straight away got a portfolio manager position in such a short span of time. This is what persistence can do to you. How
much were you managing?
At the beginning, it was 650 million.
How much?
When I left, 650 million.
So you start your first day as part of a team that's managing $650 million. Mm-hmm. And the night before, you were getting me towels because I called up the front desk, right? All right. Yes. Only in America, right? Got them or what?
Absolutely, the land of opportunity.
Oh, you betcha.
And here I would like to add something even more incredible. Around the same time, in November 2016, something even more incredible happened. I joined Twitter and I started posting my thoughts on whatever I was reading and learning about.
Wait, sorry, could you talk a little slower for me because it's end of the day and I'm not getting this all. You on what did you do on where? On Twitter?
So in November 2016, I joined Twitter, the social media platform,
yes,
and I started sharing whatever I was reading, learning on various subject matters like philosophy, psychology, investing.
Right.
History.
Hang on a second. I just want to point out, and I think this is a really good lesson for anybody listening. When you were working for 15 months as a clerk at the front desk, you weren't working as a clerk at the front desk. Your mind was elsewhere. You were learning, you were taking advantage of the opportunity where you were to read, to gain knowledge, to do job applications, to basically leverage the time you had when you're in San Francisco, not wallowing like, oh gosh, I'm making $13 an hour. I hate this life. But you didn't do that. What you did is you use that as your training ground in order to learn as much as you can. So when you came up with Twitter and everything, it was just an extension to a bigger audience of everything you did. Is that right?
Broadly, yes. But here I would like to add something that you mentioned that, my mind was somewhere else. It's not that. One thing which I picked up from my parents is the importance of a good work ethic. So even when I was in my hotel job, I used to give it all my best. And in June 2016, I was actually the employee of the month.
Employee of the month wow.
So
what is this hotel? What did you have to do? So tell me what you did. What was your job responsibilities at this hotel?
Basically checking in and checking out guests and sometimes carrying their luggage to their room, answering their random requests like getting a toothpaste or a toothbrush to their room.
Okay.
And sometimes even washing dishes in the kitchen.
So what did you do that got you employee of the month? Like what were you doing that made you stand out from everyone else who was the front desk guy?
I think the biggest thing was me being a team player. I think just being empathetic with everyone. And what I love about America, Charles, is the dignity of labor. Here, everyone from the bottom to the top, everyone enjoys great dignity of labor and everyone respects people for when they're working. And I think here work is respected, not the designation, not the level, not the pay.
It takes someone who came to this country with nothing, with really a dream, right, of being where they wanted, to fully appreciate the opportunity that's right around them, and it doesn't matter where you start. You couldn't. You started in a field that wasn't anywhere close to where you wanted to be. You're washing dishes and getting towels and carrying luggage up 3 flights of stairs or whatever the heck you were doing, and you saw this as opportunity where most people, unfortunately, who are born here and don't realize that, they feel that I should start off at the corner suite. It's not the way it works. I kudos to you. That's fantastic.
Yep. So there is no alternative to hard work. If you work, nothing in life, business, relationships, and investing, nothing will work unless you do. So just put in the work and have faith that eventually the dots will connect. As Steve Jobs said, you cannot connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backwards. So everything actually added up. And that's how compounding works. In the initial decade or two, nothing, it'll seem as if nothing is happening. But once you get on the exponential part of the curve, that is when magic starts happening.
Right. Tell me about, just so we can cut to that. I want to, because the name of your book is The Joys of Compounding. You're talking about that, how everything you do in those 15 months just catapulted you. You were telling me on a call just that we had the other day that if you have $100 and you compound that over time, where 60+% of your compounding is in the last 5 years, go through that and do that slowly, because I want my listeners to hear this, because I know numbers and everything, but I never heard it presented the way you did. And when I got off the phone with you, I said, darn, that's really good. So walk us through that slowly.
So Charles, the day I understood how compound interest works, I immediately knew that I was going to become monetarily rich. I just had to get started. But compounding will bestow its magic and benefits upon you only after testing your patience and conviction to the fullest, because the power of compounding is backloaded. When I say backloaded, let me explain with the help of an example. Suppose you start with $1. Okay. At 20% compounding, your $1 becomes almost 100 times in 25 years. But at the end of year 10, you'll have 6 times. At the end of year 20, you will have 38 times, which means that out of the 100x, almost 2/3, 62x of the 100x came in the last 5 years. So if you want the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, you have to actually go through the entire journey. And the stock market is designed in such a way with its volatility feature to test your tolerance for pain every year, because the stock market on an average declines 10% every year, 20% or 25% every 3-4 years. And every decade we have a big bear market of 40-50%. So that's the volatility is a feature. It's not a bug of the stock market.
It's not a what? It's not a what? It's a feature, not a...
It's not a bug. It's a feature. It's a basic feature. It's a routine characteristic of the stock market. So once you know history, once you learned about financial history, then these things will just look very routine to you. So there's nothing to feel afraid. You just have to focus on time, because in the compound interest equation, time is the only variable which lies in the exponent. You want to make use of that exponential power of time. If you want to really harness the power of compounding, that is what you need to focus on. And how will you be able to take advantage of the exponential power of time? By focusing on survival and endurance. If you're able to just survive and stay in the market for the long term, you can't help but become rich, because that's how compounding works. You just have to be in the market for a long time in good stocks, bought at good prices, and then do nothing. Do nothing until something very bad happens to the company in question. Until that time, you just stay put.
Right. So even if you buy the S&P index fund, if you hold it, I think it's over 10 years, there's a 92% chance you will have more money. So all you need to, and if you hold it for 1 or 2 years, the odds go down tremendously. So if you didn't know anything, all you would need to do is, if you're saying, let me look at these investments and forget about them, if you just give it those 10 years, you have a 92% chance of making money, and considerable money at that, and only an 8% chance of losing. And the only thing you did is you gave it time. You and I could invest in the same index fund. You only gave it 2 years, I gave it 10. And the only difference, same investment, same everything, but once, as you mentioned, you take out that time equation, everything falls to crap. That's the difference.
Right. The shorter your time period, the greater the variability of the outcome. But when you look over a very long time period of decades, then these intermittent market corrections and crashes just look like minor blips.
Right.
Nothing else.
Right. So the problem is to have the right mindset where these downturns don't allow you or don't tempt you to take your eye off the long term. Is that right? That's the way you phrase that?
Long-term thinking is a superpower.
Okay, so how do you develop that superpower?
Well, this has basically come from experience. In my initial years of investing, I was very impatient. and I did not know the importance of delayed gratification. But over the long term, I've come to realize and appreciate that there is only one big truth to the stock market, that the good quality stocks always, without exception, bounce back the fastest after a bear market or a market correction. This was the eureka moment for me. So in my book, I've shared a particular table which shows a list of high quality stocks in India in January 2008. That was the peak of the previous bull market. And I show their price performance from the peak of the previous bull market to the bottom of the subsequent bear market. And what I saw there just blew my mind. I noticed that over the long term, even if you buy high quality stocks at reasonable prices during a bull market peak, over the long term, they still end up making you hundreds of percentage points of return, because good businesses create wealth across market cycles, irrespective of the news headline, be it negative or positive.
Exclusive, say that again, of their what?
So good businesses create wealth over the long term, even in the middle of negative headlines like rising interest rates, rising inflation,
right,
geopolitical tensions.
Like take Coca-Cola, one share of Coca-Cola in 1919 or what have you, it turns into close to $15 or $20 million today, one share. So it's a great company over time, right? So
exactly. Yeah.
So okay, so what I liked about your book, let me just go cut to this for a sec, because it's just phenomenal that you're experiencing this and you're finding this out by trial and error, a lot of it, right? So that's what you're finding. Mm-hmm. But what you did in your book that you were handing out, selling for cost and everything, is you compiled something that I used to have drawers, desk drawers full of newspaper clippings and Xeroxes of pages of other books. You took all of this great information and put it in a book format with, let me just check this out, with 5 sections. And I want to tell you what the sections, for those listening: achieving worldly wisdom, building strong character, common stock investing, portfolio management, and decision making. And then the last thing is understanding, as you said, the true essence of compounding. So in this one book, you took a whole bunch of wisdom from other disciplines, from other people, from people much smarter than yourself, Peter, successful people, and you basically said, for $20 or so, here you go. And now I understand why, when you self-published it, really, look, man, if you never sold a copy, Gautam, you created your own manual, so,
right.
It was because when I wrote my book on getting started in value investing, I did it because my son came to work one day. He was 15 or 16. And he said, "What do you do?" And I said, "Here." And I opened up one of my drawers and I took out a folder of about 2 feet thick of clippings and articles and a whole bunch of, here's what I do. Investing, value investing. He goes, whoa, this is way too much. And I said, he's right. And there wasn't anything that I saw at the time that could distill it down pretty simply and quickly and get to the essence. So I wrote that book more or less for me. And it so happened that Wiley picked it up, Wiley Publishing. You wrote this and so many people liked it. How did Columbia Business School find you?
So I'll just quickly go back to what I said a short while ago, that in November 2016, within a few months of me joining Twitter, 2 individuals flew all the way from India to Salt Lake City, Utah here to meet me and thank me personally for what I was sharing on Twitter. And they recommended to me to write a book. They told me, why don't you write a book? We love what you're microblogging on Twitter.
So what were you doing on Twitter? Because I'm not going to go on Twitter right now, but you still have your Twitter account where you still put this stuff? Okay. What did 2 guys, what's the flight time from Mumbai to Salt Lake City? What's that, like a day and a half or something?
It must be total of 20 hours.
All right, so 20. Okay. These 2 guys get on a plane and fly 20 hours for something they saw on Twitter to just thank you?
Yes, and that was a very humbling experience.
Wow, I'd say. I hope you took them to dinner.
I did, wow. But it was a very humbling experience.
Sure
and
is.
When they brought up the idea of me writing a book, I thought, okay, I have this good habit of documenting everything what I'm learning in a Word document. So why not organize this into a book format and share it with the public? So that was the basic premise behind writing the book. But I'd never expected the book to become so
Wait,
popular.
forget about that for a second. What were they seeing in these tweets that made them take a 20-hour flight to shake your hand? What was it? What do you think it was? What do they tell you it was?
I think it was just the clarity of thought and the passion for the subject. I think the beauty of these social media platforms is that you can attract a lot of like-minded people into your life. And that is basically what happened in case of Twitter with me. So I'm very thankful. It was again, I go back to the concept of luck, chance, serendipity, and randomness. And that is why I've dedicated an entire chapter to those four topics in my book. So in the book, basically the flow is like this. I start off with theory in each chapter, and then I share a personal life experience or a personal real example from my life based on that theory. So this book is basically a reflection of my life, essentially. That's why the reason why I wrote the chapter on passion is because I strongly believed in the power of passion. The reason I wrote a chapter on luck is because I strongly believe that luck has played a big role in my life. And the reason I wrote the chapter on becoming a learning machine is that's how I got ahead in life. So every chapter, you'll see there is a personal life example from my life in that particular chapter.
And you know what I liked about the book also is, which I really always look, when I start a book, I always look in the back. I always look for the end notes, and I look at the bibliography. And your bibliography, which I love bibliographies that are dense, reads like a research paper or a science paper, because you have tons and tons and tons of outstanding books that you mention, articles that you mention. It ranges from all over the place. And what I like about it is how at the end of each chapter, you have your end notes of pages. I tell you, I bought your book in September time, and I started underlining different websites to go to and PDF papers to download. And it's really a shortcut. You really created a one-step guide for all this stuff. So that's really great.
Mm-hmm. The joys of compounding, in essence, is a celebration. It's a celebration of the value investing discipline. And my life, Charles, epitomizes Isaac Newton's saying, if I've seen further, it is by standing upon the shoulders of giants. The joys of compounding is my heartfelt tribute to all my teachers who helped me achieve financial independence, become a better and wiser person, and embark on the path to a fulfilling and meaningful life. And our goodwill compounds when we share with others, and we should act as a funnel of knowledge, not a sponge.
That's beautiful. Very
nice. As Charlie Munger so beautifully put it, the best thing a human being can do is to help another human being know more. And Charles, in life, the winners also lose occasionally, but those who help others win can never lose. So always help others rise.
Yeah, beautiful.
This is how goodwill compounds over time.
Okay, then well said. I can't add anything to that. That was nicely said. So this book, I think you told me, is selling like really hotcakes. Columbia Business School came and presented you with a publishing contract, right?
Yes. So in May 2019, during the Berkshire Hathaway annual meeting, Miles Thompson from Columbia Business School Publishing flew all the way down from New York to meet me and offer me a publishing contract with them. And the rest, as they say, is history. Okay. Today, The Joys of Compounding is an international bestseller in 5 countries: Singapore, Canada, India, Brazil, and the United Arab Emirates. And what this book has also done is, the success of the book has basically brought me on the radar of many Silicon Valley tech startups. So over the last 12 months, many of them approached me to join their platform and collaborate with them. But I decided to go with Chapter. So I quit my job at Summit Global Investments a few months ago at the end of July 2021. And I started an initiative on Chapter. Because the
started initiative on what? On what? Which chapter?
Chapter. So Chapter is basically a curation-based learning platform. And the founders of Chapter, Kyle and Steve, are on a mission to make highly specialized education accessible and affordable to everyone in the world. So I really believed in what they're trying to do. So I joined their platform and I teach the discipline of investing on the Chapter platform. It's a 3 chapter series.
Well, what's the website? Give me the website.
It's called getchapter.app. Getchapter.app/Gautam.
So Get Chapter. I never heard of this. Get Chapter.
Get chapter
Okay.
.app/Gautam.
Okay.
So
So
you'll
this
see my chapters.
okay. So I'm
Yeah.
looking here. So Get Chapter is, it says, the easiest way to learn from top experts. So is there a
Mhm.
course for this or not?
There is a 4-week course. Yeah, I teach 2 separate 4-week courses, and the third course will be released in March 2022.
And it costs money for this?
Yes, it's $40 for 4 weeks. The
Okay.
idea behind chapter is to offer highly specialized education, which is 99% cheaper than other premium online courses. The idea is to make learning very accessible and affordable in a cohort format. So, just like a college seminar, you'll be learning each course with a group of like minded peers in an accelerated learning program format over a period of 4 weeks. The idea behind chapter is to bring you the greatest and best content on any subject available on the internet by subject matter experts. So I've got 2 chapters right now, and basically what I've done is I've curated the best and greatest content available on the internet in the form of podcasts, YouTube videos, white papers, newsletters, memos, reports, and I've simply compiled them and curated them into a learning format for 4 weeks. And I also share my personal insights and learnings from each of those pieces of content. And the cohort members can also directly ask me questions in the member forum, or if they have any questions. So it's more of a social learning experience, and the idea is to make learning fun and accessible and affordable.
Nice. And I never heard of this. It's a pretty big platform.
Yeah, it's taking off pretty well. A lot of people with big following on Twitter are joining the platform now.
Because I'm looking here, is they have what, 6? They have 6 people so far on here, including you.
No, they have already 20 people. I think they're highlighting only 6 on their website right now.
Oh, so
But yeah.
so here, for example, I see. Yeah, you were on the top. I gotcha. So okay, so got it. So how to publish your first novel for $40? I could learn from Dali Adla how to do that. Okay. Understanding the Supreme Court, Neil Cattell. Got it. Okay. And what makes this site unique is that it's only $40. And how many hours of, it's 4 sessions?
So it's basically the entire course is spread over 4 weeks, and you get 3 to 4 hours of content delivered to your email inbox every week. And once you're through with that content, you can ask me questions on any query which you may have.
Nice. So it doesn't take much time for you. It's kind of set up. You know, you do it once and you keep going.
Yes. So I think here I would like to add something, Charles, that in today's digital world, how do you succeed in a big way? You want to leverage the power of the internet to reach a global mass audience at scale. And how do you do that? You build something great once and then you earn forever. That is the mantra for success in today's world. You build something great once, offer the consumer more than 100 times the value of the price that they're paying, and then you basically earn great amount of goodwill, credibility, good reputation, and then you earn forever out of that for the rest of your life. But you have to play the win-win game. You don't want to just extract a lot of consumer surplus upfront. You want to leave lots of consumer surplus on the table. You want to provide tremendous amount of value by creating and providing something great once, and it has to be very scalable. Now, even though the ticket price is very, very low, which is $40, but because the internet allows you to reach a global mass audience at scale, you can make up the low ticket price through higher volume. So it's okay.
Right.
Everyone wins, right?
Well, the incremental cost to expand this is virtually nothing, right?
Right.
That's it.
You basically have built the course once and then you just earn forever.
Right. All right. Beautiful. All right. Gautam, this is great. The name of the book, folks, is The Joys of Compounding, The Passionate Pursuit of Lifelong Learning. It's a 300, wow, it's a lot of pages. I didn't know it was that much. 300, or close to 400-page book with a whole bunch of footnotes and everything. Very easy. You can read it in chunks. You can read it one chapter at a time. You can read it one section at a time. But I guarantee you, because I'm a fan before I even met Gautam, I said this did me such a great service because, and I didn't have to fly from Mumbai to Salt Lake City to tell you this, it compiled all the information, all the stuff that I like to look at in one place. So really did a great job on that, Gautam. And look, it got you on the show. There you go. There's compounding.
Thank you, Charles.
Yeah, and that's it. And checkout time is usually when at your hotel? What was checkout time? 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock?
Checkout time was noon, and the check-in time was 3 p.m.
Check-in time. So people came like, a little early. Did you let them go in? Did you let them check in? When, if they came like 2:30, did you let them come?
Yes,
Okay.
subject to availability, of course.
That's why
Yeah.
that's why you're employee of the month. Most people say, nope, sorry you wait, and I have to stand there with my luggage. But it's so great.
See, I just know that if you keep playing the long-term game, to keep trying to help other people, just as long as you're directionally correct in life, time and compounding will take care of the rest. Just try to be directionally
Yeah,
consistent,
well,
directionally
you're
accurate.
an example. You started off and it just everything keeps falling into place, but it's really not falling into place. You set it in motion when you left India, and you took a minimum wage job.
I pursued my dream then. I'm still pursuing my dream. So I'm extremely passionate about the Indian stock market and the power of Indian equities. I believe the next few decades belong to India because today India is at a position where China was 20 years ago. And India is on the cusp of great economic growth powered by the reforms of the Indian government. Earlier this year, I set up an investment firm in India titled Stellar Wealth Partners, and we got the license from the stock market regulator to start operating our business there. So recently, I launched my stock market advisory business in India, and just a few weeks ago on 6th December 2021, and it has got a great response from people. And as an extension of my belief and conviction in India, I am now about to bring the India opportunity to investors in America. I'll be setting up an India fund.
All
It will
right.
probably get operational in the next 6 months. It will be modeled after the original Buffett partnership, zero management fee. And over the last 10 to 12 months, I've simply been working in the background on how to make this fund most client friendly, how to have the entire structure as client centric as possible, because I have learned the power of playing the long term game. What I've understood is if you even if you are are not getting a lot of recognition over the first 10 years, once you have an audited 10-year track record of very good returns, then that is when the big money will start coming in. So very few people are willing to play the long term game. Everyone is just trying to get as many assets under management in a few years as possible and then retire. But I think very differently. I like to take the long term view of whatever I do because the long term game is the best game, Charles.
I hear you. I'm a long-term investor, so you're preaching to the choir here, Gautam. So great. So Gautam, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really enjoyed your book. I highly recommend it, folks. It's on. You can get it on Amazon. I think I saw it for like $10 or something on. Is that right on Kindle?
I believe so. $12, I think $12 to $13.
$12. So is it? Yeah, it's just amazing, right? You take someone's lifetime full of work and you can buy it for $12. Isn't that amazing? Is that something?
True.
Yeah, $12.63 on sale today. In fact, that's great. Yeah, that's it. $12 in the book is what? $20. So for $20, you get a whole bunch of wisdom here that took you years to really accumulate and put in a coherent order. So great value for money, folks. That's it. Gautam, wish you the best of luck. Thanks for being on the show, and I hope maybe we could have you on a little, year or so from now when you're managing whatever you want to be managing. I don't want to say billions because you're not going to be happy with that. You want to make that over time. But if it does come quicker, you're not going to be upset, are you?
I just want to deliver the best long-term returns with the lowest amount of risk and help build generational wealth for my partners.
Beautiful.
Because the power of I know in the long term, the power of compounding is so powerful. If I simply focus on endurance and longevity, everyone will do very well.
Right. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Gautam, thanks so much for being on the show. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Charles. This was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Charles Mizrahi Show. If you're a new listener, welcome. If you've been listening for a while, we're glad to have you back. Either way, we'd love to know what you think of the show. Please leave a review if you listen on Apple Podcasts. Reviews make it easier for others to find the show. You can also see the video of the interview on the Charles Mizrahi Show channel on YouTube.